PM.
Great. We are officially recording for the Get Inspired project. Thank you so much for agreeing to do the project interview today. And before we go into the questions, can you please introduce yourself?
Right. I'm Joyce Schwarz, and I'm an author, producer, and I guess serial entrepreneur. And my most recent book is the best-selling book, The VisionBoard, The Secret to an Extraordinary Life.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And the first question that we ask in this project is, when you think about inspiration, Joyce, who do you inspire and how do you do that?
Who do I inspire? That's interesting, because when I first think about inspiration, as I think about getting inspiration from others or from the world itself, so from travel. But when I actually think about who do I inspire, well, I like to inspire everybody. I mean, I was thinking about that when I got a couple of your sample questions, is that my whole thing is that I was, raised in a housing project in Cleveland, Ohio, and my dream was to get on a Greyhound bus and go somewhere. And I always figure there's somebody else like that somewhere, and maybe probably everywhere, that I meet them throughout the day. And so if I see somebody in a parking lot that I see has a cute dress on or has something that's interesting, or I read something online, or I see a little video or whatever, I'll just pick up the phone and give you a call. So I think I did that with you, and or an email. And, sometimes it's of benefit to me professionally, but a lot of times I figure, well, I could use that little jolt of extra energy or input or inspiration from somebody else, and so I actually do it more of an admiration kind of thing, and then out of the admiration comes inspiration.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the way that you inspire others is really just to kind of notice the small or the big things that other people are doing, and to send that admiration their way in the form of whatever.
Right, because one, it inspires me that, when I read about your project, that, this lady's doing this is fabulous. I didn't do this before. And what was so fascinating is you found the perfect way to do it, which was the blog format, of course, every day, right? Rather than, a calendar format or a flip book or, calendar. Well, you could still do that. You still have all these merchandising opportunities.
Well, thank you for that. When you, with the work that you do, Joyce, then, and how you go about and approach inspiring others, how do you, in the work, help people to explore their potential?
Well, one of the things that I do certainly in the book, the Vision Board book, and also in my private coaching and in my, I've about 50,000 hours of private coaching, and that's not just one-on-one, it's with groups of people and with companies that have started new startups, as we call them out here in California and in Silicon Valley, venture-funded startups, or some startups that have what's called angel funding. And so it's entrepreneurship in a more progressive kind of way of actually getting capital, rather than, most of us own our own business, but we don't, or many of us own our own business, but what we don't do is actually turn it into a business. We make it into a living. And so that's the thing that I've really inspired women to do, and people of all cultures and backgrounds, was to actually create revenue and capital, and that's the American system. And out of that, also to tie in social entrepreneurship, which is something for something, doing some goodwill. Obviously, we know about Ben & Jerry or some of the other wonderful projects that Starbucks has done to outreach to the community. I'm probably best known for working with Ralph's Grocery Stores as a consultant to launch the Missing Kids on the Milk Carton campaign nationally. Now, I'm quick to say that this wasn't my idea, the concept itself, and it was a small dairy in Michigan, and I think that's part of what we do when we inspire people, is we look at what they've done, and then they inspired me, and in turn, Patrick Collins, who was the president of Ralph's Grocery Stores, had heard about the same project, and next thing you know, we were taking this nationally. And so that's what inspiration really grows. It's kind of like a tree. It has, if it's got some strong roots, then it grows onto different branches.
And so basically what I'm hearing that you do is that you help to not only maybe plant so the roots are there, but also if the roots are there to keep them strong.
Right, and also I suppose my greatest analogy is the butterfly one of finding people that maybe are old tired butterflies. Maybe they've been flying around by themselves, and maybe it's just been a heck of a time out there, and a lot of windy storms. And what I'm doing is to revitalize them and have them probably come back again as new fresh butterflies, and with the little caterpillar stages and all of that. And the idea is to encourage them to fly, the old teach people to fish kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I will, throw people in a pool a bit. But I always figure, the most important part of this inspiration kind of concept is not necessarily to be loved and to be adored and to be a guru or an expert, but to really inspire people to reach their own personal potential.
Well, let's go with that. With that, as far as inspiration for you, Joyce, what do you need to be inspired? What do you reach for when you know what, I need to fill myself up a bit, or just something that inspires you on a daily basis? What is that?
Well, part of it is I do look for these other things that are unusual or different, and I started my career at the magazines in New York, and I remember I used to read 10, 12 different magazines and 6 or 8 newspapers, and obviously that used to be kind of the rich person's prerogative, but now, of course, with the Internet, we all have that option, is to get out of our own lives and to look at something different, and that's one of the things that I constantly have to remind myself to do, is to get out, and maybe it's just, you're going to actually look at a motorcycle magazine if you're, totally working into the fashion industry, or if you're going to be climbing mountains, you're going to be looking at an underwater video or something, so that it's really almost the opposite of what you're doing. And so this is part of really following your own path and doing it your own way. And then searching and looking for what's innovative, different, and also what's old, because the cycle returns.
So the way that you stay inspired is to continuously seek something different to bring to your attention, to bring something else to life by looking at different medium and so forth?
Right, and then every 3 months I like to do something totally different with my career or with my income streams. And so I know this sounds a little outrageous, but I challenge myself every 3 months to take on some new project that's totally different, and hopefully maybe even in a different area. Like right now, I've spent, the last 3 months working a lot on speaking and being out there and speaking with my book, The VisionBoard, and sharing that at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo and elsewhere. And now I've just taken on a new project, which is to work with Showbiz Expo in New York and in Los Angeles, and to open doors for new filmmakers in the show business arena. And so it's just one of the many paths that I'll have that'll bring one income in, but it'll also keep me fresh and keep me inspired. And I think that I'm looking, I'm a very visual, very kind of sensory kind of person, kind of very multimedia. That whole world opened up to me in the early 90s, and I realized that I did have film, I did have video, I did have the writing background, and the moving image and all of that I felt was crucial to our future. So I'm always looking for something that's quite a bit different to do and challenge myself with in every 3 month period.
So when you're going through all of this, then how does that, I think you've explained it in a bit here, but how does that also then help you to continue to explore your own potential in other areas? Is that what you do when you try these different things and you go down these different paths? Does that also help you to dig down and continuously explore this potential within yourself?
Well, I think it's not only exploring it, but developing. It's kind of like developing new neural pathways in our brain. Is that, or taking a walk into, drive, as they often say, just drive home a different way, or drive to work a different way, or whatever it is, or eat dessert first. It's that sense of surprise, that sense of wonder, that awe. And I think that's what really encourages me. And the other thing, of course, is to bring out the kid in me. When I went to Bogota, Colombia, I actually went to the Children's Museum, and the cab driver was just having almost a little fit because he goes, no, it's for niños, it's for kids. And I go like, no, I'm going. And I went over there and I just had a ball with the interactive kind of things and watching the kids and playing and sitting down and coloring and whatever. And I'm going like, well, I'm sure some people think I'm probably nuts, but one, I think it's the next generation of education who more than who better to bring us inspiration as children, and who better for us to inspire than as children.
So, Joyce, when you go through this to not only explore but then to experience, as you've said, to develop your talents and keep moving in these different directions and go through all of this, how does all of the inspiration you receive, plus the way that you translate that into your work and the different revenue streams you said that you generate, how does that then translate into how you inspire?
Well, I think that, one, it gives me a broad background in a lot of different industries, and that's one of the great opportunities that I've had is to work in, I might say, I've worked with people with 82 different professions, I once counted up, from astrologers and astronomers to zoologists. Actually worked with people at the San Diego Zoo. So one, it's giving me a commonality with that, and of course we've all learned that from social media, and we should have learned it from life too, of always looking for something that's in common with the other person so that you can begin to relate, because if they can't relate to you, they can't be inspired by you. And so that I think the important part is to be able to give, but to be able to share. And I'm always looking for that opportunity, is to share something and to learn something from the other person, so that then we can, work on a project together. And I always say that, never underestimate the person's title, their age, their sex, their race, how well they speak the language that you speak or whatever, is you don't know. I mean, when I was in the advertising business and a big, mucky-muck vice president for big international advertising agencies, I'd often find that, my greatest ideas would come from, the guard at the front desk downstairs in the building, or, a secretary or a receptionist or someone else, because it was very different. They didn't have all of the facts, all the figures, and what they had, though, was a sense of wonder or awe. And I'm always looking for that, and I'm always looking to perhaps open that up to other people. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody kind of goes, oh, Joyce is so inspirational all the time. They might go, Joyce is really tough sometimes. She wants us to do things differently. She wants us to do it our way. Like when I teach my certified VisionBoard counselor classes around the world, I go well, you have to have your own spin. And people go, what do you mean? Can't we just teach it the way you teach? No, I want you to add something special to it. And they go wow, that's interesting. And so I'm not for the cookie cutter kind of person. The person that wants to stay the same, they're going to be, more than inspired by me. They're going to be challenged.
Which also drives personal control, which sounds absolutely very powerful, not only in what you create, but what you do. And the people who have listened to you today and are reading your interview, you've given such a wealth of information nuggets, I think, that when you string all of that together, what a great value and gift that you've given the people who come to the Get Inspired Project. And I know that we will post how to reach you and how to learn more about you. But, Joyce, I can't thank you enough for what you've given today in this snapshot of time for the Get Inspired Project. We are so grateful for you.